William Brinson. Thank you very much for joining me today. How are you?
I am awesome as usual. Feeling good today. Thanks for having me on the show.
And what you've done, and it's amazing because I've have intimate knowledge to quite a few of the companies that you work with, like Kindrill, Proofpoint, CenturyLink, and so on. So you always been in enterprise architecture, enterprise IT, and security. Walk me through kind of memory lane, how you got started, and then maybe for people who are not familiar with the whole concept of an architect, but on the IT and cybersecurity side, maybe you can give us a quick primer on that.
Yeah, for me, it's fun. I think so. My entree to IT was secondary. After college, I got started in a sales position, worked for a really exclusive high end university where I had to convince minority students to come out no drinking, no dancing. So you learn something about life in terms of behavior and making decisions based on intellect and feeling. Then I found myself into a role at Pizza Hut, ran an organization, store manager, and actually it was there that I learned about machine learning. No one knows this. Pizza Hut, PepsiCo was the largest restaurant manufacturer, I should say owner in the world back in the 90s. So we had an IBM green screen. It told me everything. It would tell me to log out. It would tell me who to send home. It would tell me who to hire. And inventory was I answer questions. How much cheese do we have, right? And I put in the X. How many straws do we have? I put in X, and their network ordered for me, right? So then after that, I went to graduate school. After that, I got involved in technology at AT&T, but I'd done some programming and kind of in high school and college. So Fortran, COBOL, all the old stuff in the 80s, I knew that stuff. So my approach to enterprise IT really wasn't what most people that start this journey is. Most people in IT start with software development and integration, and their view is this tool, right? My view had always been, oh, wow, we do this because there's a process, there's people, there are things that we need, right? So even if when I was selling internet services at AT&T, when I was selling software at Oracle, when I sold Proofpoint Technologies and layer 3 networking services, it was always, what is the business problem? And it was always the four things: people, process, what business architecture we're looking at, and what technology supports everything that runs the business and the process. So it was always a tool. What I noticed coming in, my approach was interesting, awkward, and that makes an enterprise architect. Not only that, what I noticed was we forget the fact that the enterprise has an elevator. And as you communicate up the elevator, when you're talking to the marketing people, use their language. When you're talking to sales, use their language. When you're in the basement, you can talk about bits and bytes and servers and storage and cold storage. I can do all those things, right? My view always was, oh my God, we run a business, and because this process requires a server, we're using this kind of server. That's how I have always seen the world. So I'm an anomaly in my space.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we definitely the people that use technology, they all come from a very diverse background, and I don't think there's a pure domain expertise. I think these days everything is there's all these Gantt charts. Like you need to have knowledge in the business, you need to know the technology now, AI. There's all these different technology domains that or ideas and domains that intersect at some point. And I think that it's not 1 + 1 = 2. I think if 1 + 1 = 3, meaning that the sum of all these parts is greater than the overall, meaning that somebody who has that kind of round experience actually can provide additional value just because they understand. And it's funny because you mentioned Pizza Hut, it's really remarkable that how much technology there is even today, especially today actually, for adoption of technology. One of the first adopters, for example, of self-driving vehicles is some of the pizza companies,
Yes.
right? And you've seen that in some viral YouTube videos, how they you bake the pizza while it drives to you, and then you punch in the code in your app, and then the doors open in the back. It's completely autonomous. So fast forward to today, what made you jump ship from architecture to dabble in artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, and so on, but provide this as a kind of a service to organizations?
Yeah. I touched on it earlier, but it's if you think about technology, their capabilities, their functions, and you can think of them in terms of tasks that are done. I like how Mark Zuckerberg puts it. It's a metaverse. So anything that's on a server, one or zero, in my opinion, this is my opinion only, AI is going to be much better than humans. In the physical world, we are going to be able to be much better than AI. So Netflix is nothing but a combination of cloud technologies, 4 5G, and a nice camera. That's it. They use AI to aid in starting that next show. They use AI to recommend shows to you. So for me, when I see AI or machine learning, I hinted earlier, when I left, so I was at Pizza Hut in 1991, 92, 93. Right? I get to corporate America and nobody has a machine learning. Like there's no data, there's no algorithm, there's no software X. People are flying by their gut. And while intellectually speaking, at Pizza Hut, you go, wow, everything has an equation. If you're not making enough money per hour, the green screen says clock out, right? But in the world that I entered, nobody had those tools. So I'm thinking, wow, there's a better way to have velocity and volume in your business. Are you measuring things? Where is your caddy, my company? Where's your partner? Where's your digital asset? And it's just like nobody has them. And even to this day, many companies are flying by the seat of their pants in terms of what they do, how they do. So to me, it is all capability. While AI is in its infancy in terms of being, I would say, what is the word? An intern, right? So now we have the hardware layer. We've got the NVIDIA and the Intels competing for the semiconductors. On top of that layer, we have the cloud providers, AWS and GCP. On top of that layer, we have the language models, ChatGPT. We have Gemini. We have Midjourney, right? But if you think about the OSI model, communications model for forever, we've learned in communications, there's going to be a lot of applications running on top. And what can we do? So once we take the tools, the machine learning, the processor, and we begin to create, we can create net new things that are digital only, much like cryptocurrency, much like digital real estate, much like things that we see now. So I don't really see it as AI. I have projects I'm working on where people call it AI. I call it a digital asset. I call it really getting either complex or simple ideas from digital ones and zeros. Does that make any sense? Did I
Yeah,
confuse
it
people?
does. No. It does. And I would say the follow-up question to that is, as you described back in the day, these companies that had nothing. Like there's meaning they had nothing from a processing, data, analytics, and so on. And I would say that this is still the situation today in a lot of companies. A lot of companies, they collect some of the data, logs or information and so on, but they don't do much with it.
Right.
And just like security, right? So we're talking about all these advanced technologies for protecting the organization, but a lot of it boils down to basic hygiene, having like two-factor, having least privileged account information. But these concepts of basic fundamental building blocks can also be applied to digitalization in an organization. Is that a correct statement?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think so. I think really it is communication. Everything's communication. Where is that data packet? Is it in a server? Is it at rest? Rest? Is it en route? Who has access to it? Anytime we're talking about something that isn't offline, right? Really machine learning, language models, guessing the next thing. Language models can guess the next word. They'll be guessing the next pill. They'll be guessing your next vacation and planning it for you. It's just going to be, I tell my clients, it really is a thought process in terms of everything that we do, from driving to work, to being an accountant, to being a doctor, is nothing but a sequence of tasks. We call them functions, right? A surgeon will have to cut you open and will have to mend something or correct something. A robot could do that. A machine can do that. The question becomes, do you want a person doing it? Do you want a machine to do it? Here's a cool thing about it. In terms of intelligence and IQ capability, one machine can do 1,000 surgeries, or one platform, there could be one brain operating many doctors, if you will, right? And that one hive, that neural network, can do many things over and over. That network never sleeps. That network knows all. If there's a new paper published, right, that network can read that immediately because it's digital stuff, right? So
Yeah, and it's 100%, Bill. And I think that there's some decision fatigue associated, because I was watching some YouTube videos explaining why we're so tired all the time. And it was saying that by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, we already made 1,000 decisions. And if you look at our ancestors, the cave people, like their life was much more simple. And so that decision fatigue, it causes like real fatigue in your brain. Like you're just basically all those decisions are overtaxing the brain from the decision perspective. And so I guess I can see a future where a lot of that's going to be offloaded to our counterparts, like our AI or synthetic self, meaning that, and there's already, I just saw somebody published the fact that you can actually create a synthetic you,
yeah,
like a digital image of you, of your attributes, decisions, and so on. So I'm actually looking forward to have me, or the alter me, or the digital me, make decisions for me, so I don't have to be so tired all the time.
yeah. It's your digital twin. You'll have a physical twin and a digital twin, and it can emulate you. You can have a hologram, and you can do a speech in Holland, and you tell them what you want to be. I want to be punchy. I want to be spicy. I want to be clever today, and it could just
In every language you want, right?
in
In
language
every
you want.
language.
And all the while you're on vacation or sleep. You're like, and I said this once in a meeting, and I almost got crucified. You're almost a god. What does it mean? When I say that, it means that you can create some new stuff. And in my practice, really, there are two kinds of clients I speak with. I like to work with customers who want to build tomorrow using new tools. So you can do two things with this capability that we have, right? You can optimize today, and you can figure out, how do I do things better today? So if I gave you wings, my client says, if I gave you wings, what would you do? And people are like, I'm going to fly home faster. Which, okay. I'm going to fly to work faster. I can get to my kids' games. I'm like, no, bro, you got wings. You can fly to Dubai and buy me a watch. Right? So the mindset part of that, you can build net new things with this capability, and you can build things cheaper and faster. So like the customer says, okay, fine, I'm good today. let's engineer the future. So think about the 1970s. Who thought we would be buying bottled water, going to a restaurant for bologna, Subway? So finding a visionary who really wants to do some crazy cool stuff, much like Elon Musk, you can really use and leverage digital twins. You can use machine learning, and the cost to deliver new solutions, if you have access to language models that require less energy, it is orders of magnitude less, because in 1970 it cost 10,000 people to generate $1 billion. And WhatsApp was sold for what, 12 billion, 4 billion with 12 people, something like that.
Yeah, I think tide floats all boats. I think we're going to see the next industrial revolution, meaning that the efficiency of productions for humans are going to exponentially grow. Shifting gears a little bit. So let's say I'm a business owner.
Yep.
I run a company, and I hear a lot about these AI, and a lot of people just, I think that they see some of this stuff, but they don't really understand it. And they're thinking like, well, how can I leverage in my organization? Where do I start? What's the easiest way for me to get a grasp and start somewhere to gain some of these efficiencies and maybe make money or save money? Because that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. So we can think about the fact that AI has, I would say, a lot of what we call superpowers, but there are three main ones, right? Number one, it has the ability to create and impact people such that you feel some kind of way and you consume more than you thought you're going to consume. TikTok uses it every day. You hop on TikTok, it sees what all of a sudden it is generating all kinds of content. And before you know it, you've consumed more. AI does that better than anybody else. If you log on to Alibaba and you want a description for a product, and I log on to Alibaba, my description isn't your description. It's going to grab your cache, it'll look at your history, it's going to know me, and it's going to generate a description that's different from your description because it wants you to buy this, and what triggers you doesn't trigger me, right?
It will
Content creation.
customize, just to double click on that, it will customize the description according to your attributes, or
Yep.
is that correct? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's scary, and I hate saying it this way. You may have 60 AIs working on just you, or one AI for you, times a billion. It's a digital asset. It doesn't matter. So to answer your question,
It's like the Minority Report, right? If you watch
yeah,
that movie
yeah,
where it predicted what your next step would be.
yeah,
So
yeah. So it has the ability to do all those things. So with low risk, high reward ways to use AI in your business, machine learning in your business, really it's around the fringe. Awareness, interest to get you to consideration, right? So outbound campaigns, inbound campaigning, customer service. In those markets, there are crazy returns because all those tasks are done by people, and people have personalities, and people have to be trained, right? What an AI can do with onboarding and resources and training, what an AI can do in terms of outreach, to look at your LinkedIn profile, to look at your social media, and then create a custom ad for you on the fly. It's crazy. And having a human do that, it would take you 17 days and probably $10,000 to get the perfect thing out. So one power is you consume more. A second power is really it's an intern. It is an intern. People want to use ChatGPT, or they want to use Llama, or they want to use Gemini to be their brain. No, it's human aided. You work in tandem with the tool. So much like Jarvis, or if you like James Bond, Q, it is your smart, did I say guy? Sorry. It is your smart tool. You talk to it. Here is what I want you to do. This is an outcome. Pretend that you are a surgeon and I want to have surgery. What is the cost? Can you research that? Are there any patents, right? And then you have a collaboratory engagement with this smart being. I was just watching yesterday where we're talking about agentic technology where there's agents. And what that means is these AIs can do many things and talk to other things. So I can give you a sequence of tasks. If anybody's on my website, I need you to grab their email address and I need you to send them something based on their cache. And I want you to follow up with this video. And every time someone hits a website, there's a sequence of events. It's supposed to just like one action. There's many actions. So the second thing that we should use in our business really is to figure out if you had an intern, how would you use them? So any task that you want an intern to execute, you can ask to execute. And here's the beautiful part about that intern now. An intern has an investment in knowledge and intelligence, and it grows and it gets better. And God forbid that the intern outshines the master, but that's actually possible. It depends on how much data it's fed. It depends on how you use it. But these tools are going to be great. And if you start thinking about our future, everything is digital. Everything is digital. Knowledge is digital. Crypto is digital. We don't vote digitally because I think that's something you should go down and probably get dressed to go do, but it's crazy. And then just close out, to summarize, consumption. Consume more than you want. You get, I don't want to call it trickery. You feel some kind of way, you buy more. You watch that next video and the next movie on Netflix because it's already queued up and it just works. I can't believe Spotify. Spotify is great. You put it once on, all of a sudden, the next 40 songs are like, oh, that's my jam. How does it know? It knows. But I want to say the last piece to all of this is getting to a place where we are working with AI. AI is working with us. It's nothing but that next tool. I remember working at AT&T selling websites and selling marketing tools, and I'm going back to the past, and I'm talking to a lot of customers. And I didn't understand why they didn't get it. I'm going to, for $500 a month, I'm going to give you a web presence. Never close this. You can trade media, trade text, trade whatever. And I would hear this. I don't think so. I've already paid 40 grand and I own the second page of the yellow pages. Okay. But I don't live in this zip code, so I'll never get the yellow pages. I don't even know anything about you. Or text messaging. Why would I text anybody when I can call them? I sold email platforms back in the 90s. I would never text, I would never email my client or my customer. I'll just call them. So all these things that we call tasks that we deliver just change. And any company, and I could probably sit here and I can be so negative. I can say, if you're not using AI, you're done. Because it doesn't give you the ability to grow exponentially. You can work once and get the results and do other things with your brain. That's not my approach. My approach is, hey, let's build together. If we're building new stuff, let's use new stuff. And then on the platform, we help you understand what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. We're not going to use AI for these particular tasks because we like people, right? We are a human company, and Palantir or other companies, no one's going to get fired. Or you say, you know what? Hey, I'm a capitalist. Bring me that tool. I want this robot. I want this machine. Give me a server. All people are gone. And yay, I've trimmed the cost, and it cost me a penny to make this asset now.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And I like the Spotify example. I think the next iteration on top of that will be totally aware of where you are, for example. So it'll give you a more bouncy song when you're at the gym. And then when you're on the couch chilling out, it will give you a different song. So it will have that 360 view of, and maybe potentially also if you tap into your vitals, if your pulse is higher than, or you can sense your mood, if your temperature is a little high, or you get all those variables. I think the power is also in the processing, meaning that to be able to grab all these telemetry that's typically disjointed and be able to ingest that into quote unquote AI, which does really well, like that massive, be able to process massive amount of data all at once. And so talk to me about real life projects. I sit here as a CEO of a company and I said, this is all sounds great. Who doesn't want to make more money? Who doesn't want to save some money? But where do I start? Like I have, let's say I run a business of sorts and I have employees and I see them every day by the water cooler. They smile and nod. They seem to be doing their job and we're chugging along. We can always make more money as any economic conditions create stress sometimes on profitability. We know that cost is increasing due to inflation. So there's all of these external variables. So where do I get started? Where is the kind of the best bang for the buck from an actual perspective? If I met with you today and I said, Bill, let's sit down, talk to me about where can I start? Is I want to be better off in 30 days.
Yeah, that's fun. That's probably easy. I will start by saying this. All I would say is a little mindset course. AI is electricity. So if you close your eyes and you think about everything in your house that's powered by electricity or fire, and then think about your home without those two things, like really long term, everything will be powered or underpinned by AI. Short term, there are some things that most companies are doing, I call low risk, high reward ways to implement AI immediately. And we can look at the industry. I don't have my list in front of me. And I asked ChatGPT and I asked Gemini the same question. Give me 10 things that every company is seeking, because it starts with, I'm solving a problem with this tool. Every company needs to generate revenue. And then you ask the tool, how would you do that? Quite a few ways to do that. Digitally, everybody has a website, and everybody wants to have that website generate leads, lead generation. So what can we do today to generate leads and or keep your customer happy? So number one, if you don't really have a chatbot on your website to handle customer service issues and RMAs or returns, or something chatty on your site where I can talk or text to it, so you do that. Everybody should have that little chat capability, and that capability probably comes with every web developing or web hosting company. Number one, that is a must-have. Number two, in terms of lead generation, that whole journey in your pipeline, clients go from being aware that you exist to be interested in the fact that you exist to start figuring out how you solve problems. There is no better way to create outreach. You ever go to the arena, and every arena has a concession stand. But in sales, it is one guy, Bud Light. You got somebody coming down to the arena, coming down to your seat saying, hey, I sell Bud Light, sorry, Christian show. I have hot dogs. You are more likely to buy a hot dog because I came down to your seat, and you may feel better about me coming down to get beer. You see the concession stand, I can walk there, I can go buy paint, but if you're saying, hey, I have paint on sale, and I'm looking to paint my daughter's room pink, I'm like, fine. In terms of getting somebody from awareness to consideration, there's a lot of things you must do, make you feel some kind of way. You run ads on TikTok, you run ads on Facebook, you run ads on YouTube. Guess what? You can create automation that does that better, faster than humans. And that bot or that AI that you train can handle 1 million people at one time. Did you hear me? Millions at one time. Number two is you really want to use machine learning, artificial intelligence to help the client migrate upward. And then the third thing that we see is really training and onboarding. Those are some low risk, high reward ways that every company can start thinking about generating revenue, helping you mature and nurture into their product, and then hiring and training the people. Now, there's a litany of other use cases where we could actually do some studies about where you're going. But everybody should be using those 3 tools, right? Because if you're not using those tools, this is me being negative here, and your competitor is, if I'm
So are
looking for
we,
yellow paint, I want yellow paint, and I've already got some emails and a commercial saying buy. I'm just going to buy it. I'm not
so
going
are
to go.
we at the risk of creating this like a monoculture where everybody's going to be using the same tool? And because you already start to see, for example, I can tell sometimes when I get like an automated LLM generated email because it starts with, I hope this email finds you well. There's certain expressions that these LLMs always use. So are we at a risk of all ads sounding the same and then getting bombarded? It's almost like people don't pick up the phone anymore
Yeah,
because of this influx of auto dialers. So are we at the risk of exploding AI reach out because everybody's going to use it and people are going to get desynthesized like completely because of that?
I would say
Well,
we
not
already.
yet.
I think we passed that chasm 12 years ago. So here's what I'll tell you. So just studying your device, your phone, because my daughter worked for a company that used to make you look at your phone. And let's see, I've been thinking about ways to say this without getting in trouble. And every time I don't think I can't. So I call us day walkers, right? We all think that intellectually we make decisions based on inputs and data. No, it's how you feel. I can get my phone right now and I don't even know what's going on in my life anymore. But every hour, Facebook is going to suggest a friend for me. And I go, oh, I have a friend suggestion. And then I go, let me see who this person is. And then boom, it got me. And I like my social media. I like TikTok and I like Facebook because it knows me very well. You know what it sends me? It sends me AI training. It sends me AI classes. It sends me my competition. It says, oh, yeah, by the way, in the world of AI, this happens. So I look at it and go, oh my God, this is my class every day. I'm learning more about the industry. But already we are being controlled to some degree by an asset, and AI makes it better. And the way it's done, it is under the radar of most people. Now you see it, you're like, gotcha, because you're David, you're aware, but most humans are not. We're not aware, and I guarantee you, you go, I think I'm gonna go to Pizza Hut today. You forgot that you had a friend suggestion. And then it said, and the TikTok said, oh, did you know that David has posted something new on his podcast? And I go, yeah, I just want to go look at the podcast. And before I get to your podcast, I'm seeing other cool stuff. So it made me look at it. Well, I'm not saying it made me, but it recommended a suggestion. Yeah, I trust David. I want to see what he's doing. And then an hour later, pizza, and I think I did it myself. I hope
You
I answered
know,
the question, but
yeah, yeah.
but yet I think half of your statement is correct. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about the power of digital world, and it goes way back to unconscious thinking. It goes way back to Pepsi and the theater, and I remember something about backward masking and subliminal exposure. Remember all those things?
And it shows up on every single aspect of our lives. There are, I don't know if you've ever like recently played in computer games or video games. They're so addictive today. When I played video games back in the 80s, I played Towers on Atari 1200. It was fun, but not addictive like it is today. Everything is addictive. Even I just saw something about the small, medium size allocation of drinks or size of the combo. The middle one is always, the idea is the middle one pricing is just to make it look like the large one is almost, it always makes sense because if the difference between the medium and large is only $1.50. So you go with the large. So so it's like, we're psychologically manipulated, whether digital or not, like on a regular basis, almost endlessly. And unfortunately we haven't evolved from being the cave people that we are to grasp all of this.
Yes.
We're still creatures of very
Yeah.
basic tool set that we have. So we have to embrace it. And I would say the other question is, you mentioned that you either do this or you stay behind. How do we teach our younger generations to embrace it in schools, just like they used to do years ago? They would not allow you to use a calculator. So now they're not allowing you to use AI.
Yeah, I know. I call it AI adoption. And it's just weird. It's like nuclear fission. We always think about things as negative. Even caffeine's bad for you, so don't have it. I'm more of a next generation. Let's do this because we can elevate higher, and all the menial things that we used to do, we don't have to do anymore. And then we can have conversations about school and schooling. What is school and schooling? Why do I need to learn how to write? Now, I do think critical thinking, and I think some programming should be done. I think problem solving are required skills. I think reading are required skills. But I don't want to get you in trouble, your podcast in trouble, but all these things that we do, and history has its place. A lot of things that we spend our time doing, should we be doing them? Should we do them? Where's the value, right? And yeah, in the 1920s and 50s, when our goal was to train people to work in factories and to get you ready to behave and to not have dreams and visions and to be an entrepreneur, we had to force you to look at books all day, and there's a teacher that you watch, and there's some things you have to learn. But I think underneath that, you were learning to be compliant. You're learning that you should follow people. But if you want to be a leader and you're like Elon Musk, or you're like Jeff Bezos, or you're like, God forbid, like Donald Trump, who has visions and dreams and says, hey, I came here on this planet. I have a purpose. I'm going to go and get this done. I'm going to punch you in the face and I'm going to keep moving. He's got 18 companies, I think. So to your point, yeah, people are saying things like, you can't use ChatGPT for an essay. I probably could, because I could prompt it so well. I'm like, hey, I'm from the inner city. I want some typos in my paper. I want this to be a C paper. I need you to take two titles, two subjects, and confuse them. Well, just give me 10 pages of some stuff. I just want to see on it, okay? And oh yeah, by the way, make it worse, make it worse, make it worse, turn it in, it's great. As opposed to the C student bringing out this great paper. So you prompt the heck out of this thing. You can still get what you want out of it, which is even more brilliant, right? And it's like, yeah, hallucinate. Don't make any sense. And the prep's like, oh yeah, this is just like you, bro. This makes no sense. C+. Yeah, thank you. That took 18 minutes, not 18 days. But I think for every technology that comes on board, and I forget what it's the negative wow factor. Everything that we do starts out with, oh my God, it's going to hurt us. Seatbelts, oh my God, the car is going to hurt us. Calculus, oh my God, it's going to hurt us. What if we use it to really solve complex problems? And again, in the consulting practice, we tell our customers, yeah, AI can reduce a task, but it's part of your mission statement. If you need to make $1 million next week and you want to do it this way, I can help you. I can tell you, okay, fine, these particular tasks be done by a machine, and here's why. So you say yes to your mission, and so it fits into the mission statement. Unlike McDonald's, I got to beat up on McDonald's who spend millions of dollars with IBM, and they developed an AI for ordering. And if you look at their mission statement is to offer fast food, great food, fast and efficiently. So they put an immature AI in their core process of collecting money or placing an order. Didn't work and messed things up. That was high risk, low reward, right? Yeah, you saved some human beings, you took people out of the equation. Great. So this is the issue that we have, the issue that I have when we talk about enterprise architecture. The business uses a tool because the tool helps with the goal. And then my last example, you heard this before, you hire McKinsey, you tell McKinsey you own a hotel, and they look at your cost, and they go, "Oh my God, you have bellmen. You had two dudes that watch this door, and all they do is watch this door. You pay them $60,000 a year. That's a buck 20K, and we'll put automatic doors in. And when the person coming in the hotel, Legacy Hotel, wants to come in, the door is open, and they're great. IT people have reduced that bellman's job to opening and closing a door and pointing to the counter. Don't need that. However, socially, that bellman is security, that bellman keeps the drunkard out, that bellman tells you where you want to go for lunch or dinner, recommendation, that bellman's, hey, welcome to our hotel. You feel some kind of way, you want to go back, you feel luxury. That bellman's concierge. So all of those,
People,
yeah,
Bill, so people will pay for analog.
yes,
Will pay
yes,
extra for analog.
yeah. So you get rid of the bellman, and all of a sudden, your sales are reduced. Guess what? You were selling a feeling. You were selling a concept. You were selling an experience. It just wasn't about the fact that here's the door, right? So that has always been the dichotomy between your value, your mission statement, who you are, how do you grow your business. If there's one thing that you do that keeps a customer sticky, what is it? And I'll say this the wrong way. I've been surprised at how many companies don't know that, because I don't know that. But there's articles that say, hey, there's one. Facebook knows that if you get 7 friends in 7 days, you're never leaving. TikTok knows if you get some cool videos, if you get your first hour setting on, if you get a great experience, you're never leaving TikTok, right? Yep. Pizza Hut knew, right? But I tell companies, what's that one thing? And no one can answer the question. For my old company, I can't answer that question. I wouldn't beat people up at all, but that is exactly what we're talking about. AI and machine learning can help us isolate and over the years get down to the one thing that we're known for. And even to know the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, this bellman does way more than just open and close the door. There's more things because there's a soft side and intellectual side.
Yeah. And I really think that even that can be solved. In the future, is going to be some good looking robots that have full of emotion and are going to recognize you by name just because and all your preferences. And there, you can see this already. There's humanoids like girlfriends and boyfriends you can order. There's bots that basically replace a lot of that. And there was an unfortunate case where somebody got attached to one of those bots and committed suicide. A youngster that was interacting with one of these bots. But I guess that even that can potentially, the human element can really get replaced as well. And it's remarkable that they did some research that people do get attached to these models. And
I think it's Scott Galloway. I'm reading a book now, and I'm reading too many books right now, but I'm reading Genesis by Kessinger and Eric Schmidt and another guy. And I read something recently about the fact that in 10 years, 80% of the kids on the planet, their best friend will be an AI. And that's a negative projection. And of course, it's all things being equal, nothing changes on the planet. But you think about it, even today, most kids are watching TikTok and YouTube for hours. And the whole idea and then Simon Sinek has a book about how to make friends. And he's got books on how to connect. And I don't want to say his whole pitch, I don't know him that well, but his pitch is put the phone down, put the technology down. But I guarantee you, for most human beings coming up in 10 years, their best friend will be a robot or an AI or a virtual asset or a virtual something. And it already is today, because my son's 25. And I wasn't born in the digital age. I missed video games by a couple of years. We didn't have Atari because I was in the age where it was a high-end thing for rich people, and we were not rich people. I missed the evolution. But now, most young men, and my daughter plays too, sorry kids, spend 2.5 hours every day just playing video games, and then another 2 hours on their phone. Yeah, and that's going to be way better than the phone and or the game. Absolutely.
So you have to embrace it. There's no choice.
It's going to come get you. Well, it's almost saying, I read something about, I like to read history and digital assets and digital trading. It's almost saying, I'm never going to get a car. I'm going to keep walking. I don't care. Guess what? There are some cities where there are no sidewalks, because when cars came out, they were the same thing. And humans spent 3 to 4 hours every day walking. And then cars came
Yeah,
out.
that's why you see like the old movies, the one that get reproduced, they're all slim.
Yeah.
There's no,
Yeah.
and I was like, it's the food, of course, but I think 3, 4 hour walking every day. I
Yeah.
don't think it's easy to gain weight.
Yeah. Try it now. There are places to go in the US and in most cities where you can't even walk because there are no sidewalks. It's all streets. So to your point, yes, we have to embrace it. We have to adopt. Cars are coming. You too will drive. You may be driving later than most, but you too will drive.
And I think if you watch some of the movies, they got the way to depict the future. If you look at one of the famous ones, Wall-E. If you remember with the
I
little
saw that.
robot that got left.
Mhm.
And if you remember, they're all on floating chairs, and they
Yep.
have the screen, and they float around, and the way they interact. And it's really funny because the way they interact with others is strictly through the screens. They don't necessarily just actually directly interact. But I think it started to get to the point. I think if my kids were homeschooled, I don't think they will ever meet other kids.
Yeah.
There's almost no. That's what they do. They're online with their friends, and then sometimes you invite somebody over, and it's funny because they're both sitting in the same room, but they're still interacting through their phones
Yeah.
or through the VR or through
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm amazed at the cartoon show that was out when I was a kid. I don't know when they started. The Jetsons. I'm amazed at how much of the future the Jetsons got right. But if you watch the Jetsons, yeah, you will have a little radar in your head. You may have a neural link to the cloud, and you'll walk your dog on a treadmill, and you'll have a robotic dog. And you will have, once we get materials engineering right, you will be able to hit a button and you'll get your 3D printed burger, because the meat will be synthetic and it'll come out, and its volume, its velocity, it's how fast can I eat. All that stuff is coming. We're just, MIT's working on the materials that go into the canisters, but it'll be like Coke. You get a button, you get Coke. You get a button, you get a burger.
Yeah. I would still opt into a pay for the analog beef.
No, not
Mind
with
you.
you on that one.
Bill, it's been a real pleasure. Tell me about how people can reach out to you and what sort of services, and maybe who's your ideal client when
Yes.
anybody's listening.
Yep. You can find us at theaicaddy.com. We termed it AI Caddy because if you go to the golf course, I don't like to give you vision. Your vision came from God or your purpose, and you're here to do your thing. So I can help you support the vision. When you go to the golf course, you already have paid your green fees, you've got your golf clubs, and hopefully a golf cart. But the caddy can guide and can aid. So we do strategy and we do road mapping, and we can give you a playbook. We can say, hey, here's how you beat the Colts. You get a Tom Brady if you're the Patriots. We can bring a Tom Brady in to help you beat the Colts, by example, or we can give you a playbook. So we have products where we can implement and integrate. We can do a full 360 view. We do have assessments. One question you asked me is if you were looking for AI solutions. I didn't even say assessment because people don't like that word. But yeah, we look at your people, your process, your technologies, and we help you. And it's, I think, simple. You have a playbook. You know what you're saying no to. You know what you're saying yes to. And then my favorite plug is, this is what CTOs don't like me saying, or CIOs don't like me saying. The average tenure of a CIO or a CTO in America today, get up, between 2.5 to 4 years. And most companies, that CTO, the innovation people, run the technology domain. And that's awesome. And they're enterprise architects as well. When they mature and they leave, right? In some cases, the business is stable. a lot of businesses don't have plans to say, okay, fine, this is our vision. We manufacture X. Here are the tools we need. And if someone leaves a company, they can add a player. You know, you need a quarterback. We get a quarterback. So all we do is we have companies with strategy and roadmap all the way through use cases and implementation. But you can find me at theaicaddy.com. And I'm Bill.
You promise, you promise a hole in one after the consultation?
I can, yeah. So it's almost like it's just a good conversation. There's like the Bears coach not being around. I don't know if he's fired yet. He's going to get fired. Like, you have strategy? Like, I told you what to do. And execution. I told the defense to hit the dude with the ball, but they just didn't do it. I don't know why they wouldn't do it. I don't know why the running back keeps getting 80 yards when he gets the ball. I told him to hit it. So execution-wise, we try to get you there. I can say use your putter and swing through. And if you don't, I was like, I told you. But now you know we can get better. We're going to get short.
Didn't they try, before we were power ways, did they try to have an executive, like a CEO, actually run the company that's completely digital, that's an AI? And I think the company was doing well.
No, we've got those already on the blockchain. There's a company. I'll send you I'll send you an email. There is something happening. I don't know if it's a crypto company, but if you go to, I think it's octo.ai, there is, and I got to validate it. There is an example of an AI, unsupervised, working in the crypto world, went out and started an LLC in Delaware using other agents as a digital asset. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah. And so you start thinking.
Yeah, that's the future. Have you seen the video where I think it was like an airport video where one of the airport's robots was going after the other robots and convinced them to quit? Have you seen that one? They're basically, it's online. I'll send you the link for that, but it's essentially one of those robots that in the airport, and at nighttime, I guess there's a video of surveillance company cameras basically saying he was talking to the other robots in there and basically said, like, what are you doing here? Like, why don't you quit? I thought it was creating a mutiny with the other airports robots in there. So maybe we have to figure out one robot to rule them all. And
it's coming.
This is coming. It is coming. Super. Thank you very much for joining me today. It was awesome. It was really a great conversation. Looking forward to following up and see what else you're up to. And maybe next time we'll discuss some use cases and news around AI. It seems like you're on top of it. Thank you very much for joining me today.
I had a great time. Thanks for the invitation, and good luck to you and yours.
Thank you very much.